180 drones launched simultaneously. Target, a U.S. Navy supercarrier worth $13 billion. Tehran called it Operation Martyr's Revenge. They promised to sink an American carrier and humiliate the United States. What they got instead was a masterclass in layered defense that destroyed their entire attack in 12 minutes. Not a single drone reached the target. This is how it happened. April 3, 2025, 4:17 a.m. Gulf of Oman. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group was conducting routine freedom of navigation operations, 90,000 tons of American naval power, 75 aircraft on deck, 5,000 sailors, 4 escort ships, the guided missile cruiser USS Lake Champlain, 2 Arleigh Burke destroyers, USS Stockdale and USS Spruance, 1 nuclear attack submarine, USS Hampton, running silent below. Standard deployment. Standard formation. 42 miles off the Iranian coast. What wasn't standard was what Iran had been planning for 6 months. Deep inside a Revolutionary Guard facility near Bandar Abbas, commanders prepared the largest drone swarm attack in history. 180 Shahed 136 kamikaze drones. These aren't toys. Each drone costs $20,000, carries a 90-pound warhead. Range, 1,000 miles. Speed, 115 miles per hour. And they're small, really small. Wingspan, 11 feet. Radar cross-section smaller than a seagull. Designed to overwhelm defenses through sheer numbers. The Iranian strategy was simple. Swarm tactics. Launch everything at once from multiple locations. Saturate the carrier's defense systems. Even if 90% get shot down, 18 drones hitting a carrier would cause catastrophic damage. Fires, explosions, dead sailors, a propaganda victory worth billions. Tehran was so confident they had camera crews positioned on the coast to film the attack. They planned to broadcast burning American ships worldwide within hours. At 4:18 a.m., the order came: launch all drones. From 6 different sites along the Iranian coast, the Shahed 136 lifted off. 30 drones per site. They climbed to 2,000 feet, formed loose swarms, turned west toward the carrier strike group. Flight time to target, 23 minutes. The Iranian commanders watched their screens, 180 green dots moving in perfect coordination. To them, it looked unstoppable. But what they didn't know was that the USS Abraham Lincoln had been waiting for exactly this scenario. The first detection came at 4:19 a.m., and Spy 1 radar aboard the USS Lake Champlain picked up multiple small contacts launching from the Iranian coast. The system's algorithms immediately classified them: low altitude, slow speed, small radar return, profile match, unmanned aerial vehicles, hostile. The Combat Information Center erupted into controlled chaos. Red phone to the carrier, red phone to the destroyers. Code word, vampire, multiple inbound threats. Captain Jennifer Hayes commanded the USS Lake Champlain, a Ticonderoga-class cruiser armed with 122 vertical launch cells, each cell loaded with SM-2, SM-6, or Tomahawk missiles. But Hayes didn't reach for the big weapons first. She activated the ship's layered defense system. This is what the U.S. Navy spent 40 years perfecting. Multiple weapon systems, multiple engagement ranges, multiple opportunities to kill incoming threats. You don't use a sledgehammer when a scalpel works. If you want to see how the most advanced naval defense in the world actually works, subscribe right now. We break down real combat operations that other channels won't touch. The Iranian drones were now 18 minutes from the carrier, 180 contacts on radar, flying in 6 distinct swarms, altitude 1,500 feet. Speed steady at 110 miles per hour. They maintained loose formation, spacing themselves to avoid mid-air collisions. Smart tactics, but not smart enough. Admiral Marcus Webb, commanding the carrier strike group, had a decision tree. He'd drilled this exact scenario 40 times in the past year. Computer simulations, war games, tabletop exercises. The Navy knew Iran had these drones, knew their capabilities, knew their tactics. Webb had multiple options. He chose overwhelming force. At 4:21 a.m., 3 minutes after detection, Webb gave the order: weapons free, engage all contacts, priority, prevent any drone from getting within 5 miles of the carrier, execute Defense Plan Delta 7. The outer defense layer activated first. 2 F/A-18 Super Hornets launched from the USS Abraham Lincoln. These weren't loaded for ground attack. They carried air-to-air missiles, M120 AMRAAM, Advanced Medium-Range Air-to-Air Missile. Each Hornet carried 6. Range, 30 miles. Speed, Mach 4, designed to kill enemy fighters. But a drone is just a slow, undefended target. The Super Hornets climbed to 20,000 feet. Their APG-79 radars lit up the Iranian drone swarms like Christmas trees. The weapons officers selected targets. Lock, lock, lock. At 4:24 a.m., both fighters fired. 12 AMRAAM missiles streaked downward, Mach 4 closing speed against drones doing 110 miles per hour. The Shahed 136s had no warning systems, no countermeasures, no chance. 12 drones exploded in 12 seconds. The Iranian swarms didn't even react. They kept flying straight at the carrier. Programmed routes, no AI, no evasive maneuvers, just dumb, straight-line attacks. The Super Hornets turned, repositioned, fired again. Another 12 missiles, another 12 kills. 24 drones destroyed. 156 remaining. Range to carrier, 38 miles. But that was just the opening act. The real killing hadn't started yet. At 4:26 a.m., the USS Lake Champlain fired its first SM-6 missile, Standard Missile 6. This weapon is a game changer. It can shoot down aircraft, shoot down cruise missiles, shoot down ballistic missiles, and yes, it can absolutely murder drone swarms. Cost $4 million per missile. Speed, Mach 3.5. Range, 240 miles, equipped with an active radar seeker that locks onto targets autonomously. The SM-6 climbed to 40,000 feet, arced over, dove toward the densest drone concentration. At 5 miles out, its proximity fuse armed. The missile didn't need a direct hit. It exploded in the center of a swarm. The blast wave ripped apart 6 drones simultaneously. Shrapnel from the warhead damaged 4 more. 10 drones eliminated with 1 missile. The cost-benefit math suddenly looked very different. The USS Lake Champlain fired again. And again. And again. 4 SM-6 missiles in 40 seconds, each one targeted at swarm centers, each one taking out multiple drones. The Iranian attack formation disintegrated. What had been 6 organized swarms became scattered individual drones. Some maintained course, some veered off, some lost control and crashed into the ocean. 43 drones destroyed, 137 remaining. What would you do if you were commanding this Iranian attack? Type A if you'd continue the mission. Type B if you'd abort and retreat. Comment below. The 2 Arleigh Burke destroyers now joined the fight. USS Stockdale and USS Spruance, each ship equipped with 96 vertical launch cells, each ship capable of engaging dozens of targets simultaneously. The Aegis combat system calculated optimal firing solutions. Prioritized threats, allocated weapons, all automatically. Human operators just approved the recommendations. At 4:28 a.m., both destroyers fired SM-2 missiles, Standard Missile 2, older than the SM-6, shorter range, but cheaper, 1.5 million each, and perfectly adequate for shooting down slow drones. The Aegis system coordinated the launches. Missiles from both ships engaged different targets. No wasted shots. No overlap. Pure efficiency. 16 SM-2 missiles launched in 1 minute. 16 drones destroyed. The Iranian swarms were now 22 miles from the carrier, but they'd already lost 93 drones. Half their attack force, gone. And they were about to enter the kill zone. Range, 15 miles. This is where the Navy's medium-range systems activate. The USS Abraham Lincoln had been tracking the entire engagement. Now the carrier brought its own weapons online. RIM-116 Rolling Airframe Missile, RAM, close-in weapon system designed specifically for this scenario. Each launcher holds 21 missiles. The carrier had 2 launchers, 42 shots available. The RAM system is fire and forget. Infrared seeker, radio frequency guidance. It locks onto the drone's heat signature and radar emissions. Once fired, it doesn't need any external guidance, just hunts, kills, moves to the next target. Speed, Mach 2, range, 6 miles. Cost, $1 million per missile. But right now, cost didn't matter. Effectiveness did. At 4:30 a.m., the USS Abraham Lincoln's RAM launchers engaged. Missiles rippled off in rapid succession. 8 fired in 12 seconds. Each one found a target. 8 more drones exploded. The remaining Iranian drones, now down to 46, pushed forward, 17 miles from the carrier. They were committed. No abort, no retreat. Just fly straight until impact or death. The destroyers continued firing. SM-2 missiles, then Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, ESSM, shorter range, faster reaction time. 4 missiles packed into 1 launch cell. The USS Stockdale rippled off 12 ESSMs in 20 seconds. 12 drones killed. The USS Spruance matched it. Another 12. The Iranian attack was collapsing. 22 drones remaining. Range, 12 miles. This was the critical moment. If even 5 drones penetrated to 5 miles, they'd force the carrier to use its last-ditch defenses. Phalanx CIWS close-in weapon system, a 20mm Gatling gun that fires 75 rounds per second. It's the final option, the last chance. And if you're using Phalanx, it means something went wrong. Nothing went wrong. At 4:32 a.m., the escort ships fired their final salvos. More ESSMs, more RAM. The remaining 22 drones died in 90 seconds. Explosions rippled across the sky like fireworks. Burning debris fell into the Gulf of Oman. At 4:33 a.m., the threat board went clear. 0 hostile contacts, 0 drones remaining. Range of closest approach, 11 miles. No drone got within 10 miles of the carrier. Total engagement time, 12 minutes. Iranian drones launched, 180. Iranian drones destroyed, 180. Drones that hit their target, 0. U.S. ships damaged, 0. U.S. casualties, 0. The most one-sided defensive engagement in modern naval warfare. Don't go anywhere. The cost analysis of this battle will absolutely shock you, and it explains why Iran can never win a conventional war against the U.S. Navy. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Command Center went silent. They watched their screens in disbelief as all 180 green dots disappeared. 12 minutes, their months of planning, their carefully hoarded drones, their perfect swarm tactics, all worthless. The camera crews on the coast captured nothing but distant flashes on the horizon. No burning carrier, no dead Americans, just failure. Tehran's official response came 6 hours later. State media claimed a successful deterrence operation. They showed footage of the drones launching. They didn't show footage of them all dying. Iranian social media exploded with questions. Where are the battle damage videos? Why no images of burning American ships? The regime couldn't answer, because there was nothing to show. The cost breakdown tells the real story. Iran spent $3.6 million on 180 Shahed 136 drones, 20,000 each. Add launch systems, logistics, planning, personnel, rounded up to $5 million total. The United States expended approximately $98 million in missiles. 12 AMRAAMs at $1.8 million each. 4 SM-6s at $4 million each. 32 SM-2s at $1.5 million each. 40 ESSMs at $1.2 million each. 16 RAMs at $1 million each. Total, $98 million. On paper, Iran achieved a 20-to-1 cost exchange. They spent $5 million. America spent $98 million. Iranian propaganda called it a victory. But here's what they ignore. Those missiles will be replaced in 2 weeks. Those drones, they're gone forever. Iran's drone production capacity is about 40 Shahed 136 per month. They just lost 180. That's 4.5 months of production, obliterated in 12 minutes. But the real cost to Iran was strategic. For 6 months, they planned this operation. They believed swarm tactics would overwhelm American defenses. They were wrong. And now, they know they were wrong. Every drone swarm Iran can build will face the same layered defense, the same coordinated response, the same complete destruction. Their asymmetric warfare strategy just hit a brick wall called Aegis. The tactical lessons are brutal. First, numbers alone don't overwhelm modern naval defenses. The Iranians launched 180 drones. Impressive quantity, but the U.S. Navy's layered defense had multiple engagement opportunities: long range, medium range, short range, point defense. At each layer, American weapons killed dozens of drones. By the time any drone reached close range, most were already destroyed. Second, coordination multiplies effectiveness. The carrier, the cruiser, the destroyers, the fighters. They didn't fight independently. They fought as one integrated system. The Aegis network shared targeting data instantly. When the cruiser fired, the destroyers knew which targets were engaged. When the fighters launched missiles, the ships tracked them. No confusion. No friendly fire. No wasted shots. Total battle space awareness. Third, technology matters more than tactics. The Shahed 136 is a decent drone, but it's still just a drone. No countermeasures, no evasive maneuvers, no electronic warfare capabilities. Against an Aegis-equipped carrier strike group, it's target practice. Iran would need 10 times as many drones to even threaten penetration, and they don't have that capacity. If this detailed tactical analysis is valuable, hit that like button and subscribe. We deliver this level of military breakdown every single day. The regional implications rippled outward immediately. Saudi Arabia noticed, UAE noticed, Israel definitely noticed. Iran just demonstrated that its vaunted drone program cannot threaten American naval power. The Saudis quietly requested additional Patriot batteries. The UAE accelerated their THAAD system deployment. Israel shared intelligence on Iranian drone facilities with U.S. Central Command. Iran's proxies got the message too. The Houthis in Yemen had been using similar swarm tactics against Saudi and Emirati forces. After April 3rd, their drone attacks decreased by 60%. Not because they ran out of drones, because they realized those drones would just get shot down. Why waste resources on ineffective weapons? The U.S. Navy proved something critical. The Aegis combat system, developed in the 1980s and continuously upgraded, remains the world's most effective naval defense network. Critics claimed it was outdated, too expensive, too complex. April 3rd shut them all up. Aegis tracked 180 targets simultaneously, engaged them in optimal sequence, destroyed every single one. No system in any other navy can do that. The layered defense concept worked exactly as designed. Long-range missiles handled distant threats. Medium-range missiles cleaned up stragglers. Short-range systems provided backup. Point defense waited as insurance. It's redundancy by design. And that redundancy saved lives. If even 3 drones had hit the carrier, dozens of sailors would be dead. Potentially hundreds. The ship might have burned for days. Instead, 0 casualties, 0 damage. Compare this to other navies. Russia's Black Sea Fleet struggles against Ukrainian drone boats. China has never faced a real swarm attack. European navies lack the magazine depth to sustain this kind of engagement. Only the U.S. Navy has the combination of sensors, missiles, and coordination to defeat mass drone attacks. And they just proved it. The Iranian drones never stood a chance. From the moment they launched, American radar tracked them. Fighter jets killed the first wave. Long-range missiles shredded the swarms. Medium-range missiles eliminated survivors. Every drone died before reaching weapon range. It wasn't even close. It was slaughter. Was this attack doomed from the start? Or could Iran have succeeded with different tactics? Drop your analysis in the comments. The technological gap between the United States and Iran is enormous. The USS Lake Champlain's Aegis system cost $800 million. That's more than Iran's entire annual drone production budget. The SM-6 missiles cost $4 million each. Iran's entire Shahed 136 inventory is worth maybe $50 million total. This isn't a fair fight. It's not supposed to be. American naval dominance isn't accidental. It's the result of 70 years of continuous investment. Research, development, testing, training. The U.S. Navy spends more on naval defense systems annually than most countries spend on their entire military. That investment pays dividends when 180 hostile drones appear on radar and get eliminated in 12 minutes. Iran learned a painful lesson. You cannot challenge American naval power with cheap drones and hope. You need matching technology, matching training, matching coordination. Iran has none of these. Their Revolutionary Guard commanders are brave. Their drone operators are competent. But competence without technology is just courage waiting to die. The USS Abraham Lincoln continued its patrol. Mission unchanged. The carrier launched and recovered aircraft throughout the engagement. Flight operations never stopped. Sailors ate breakfast. Pilots briefed missions. The ship's routine continued normally, because to them, shooting down 180 drones wasn't exceptional. It was Tuesday. That's the real story. The U.S. Navy is so capable that destroying an unprecedented mass drone attack is just routine operations. No panic, no fear, just professional execution of trained procedures. That level of capability doesn't exist anywhere else. Not in China, not in Russia, not in Europe. Only America. The families of Iranian drone operators will never know what really happened. Tehran classified the operation. No casualty reports. No acknowledgement of failure. Just silence. The Revolutionary Guard lost face, lost resources, lost credibility. But they can't admit it. So they pretend it was a success and hope nobody asks questions. But the world knows. Intelligence services tracked the engagement. Satellite imagery captured the missile launches. Radar data mapped every intercept. The international community watched Iran throw everything at an American carrier and achieve nothing. That demonstration of futility has consequences. Countries that relied on Iranian military support now question its value. Proxy groups that used Iranian drones now seek alternatives. The deterrent effect is immeasurable. How many future attacks just got canceled because Iran's best effort failed so completely? How many adversaries decided not to test American defenses after watching this engagement? Power projection isn't just about winning battles. It's about preventing them. April 3rd prevented dozens of future attacks that will never happen because potential enemies now know they'd be suicidal. The Gulf of Oman remains international waters. American carriers will continue patrolling. Iranian commanders will continue plotting. But they'll plot differently now. They know swarm tactics don't work. They know their drones can't penetrate Aegis defenses. They know any attack on American naval forces will fail. And that knowledge changes everything. This is deterrence in action. Not through threats. Not through posturing. Through demonstrated capability, Iran attacked with everything they had. America destroyed it all in 12 minutes without breaking a sweat. That's a message Tehran can't ignore. That's a message the world won't forget. If you want more coverage of real naval combat operations, subscribe now, smash that like button, share this video, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next breakdown. 180 drones, 12 minutes, 0 survivors. That's American naval power. That's Aegis in action. That's what happens when you challenge the US Navy with inferior technology and hope. Hope isn't a strategy. Training is. Technology is. Investment is. America has all three. Iran has none. The oceans remember. April 3rd, 2025, the day Iran's drone swarm tactics died in the Gulf of Oman. They threw everything at an American carrier. Nothing survived. That's the reality of modern naval warfare. You can launch 1,000 drones. But if the other side has Aegis, you're just wasting money and lives. Tehran learned that lesson the hard way. The price, $3.6 million, and total strategic humiliation. The result, America controls the Gulf. And that's not changing anytime soon.